All right, join me on page 154 of the Social Studies textbook. If you don't have the book out, go ahead and get it out now so you can follow along. Okay, starting at the top. In turn, the Hatshepsut learned hieroglyphs and began to worship Egyptian gods. Under the Hatshepsut, Egypt changed in other important ways. The Hyksos greatly expanded their trade routes as far as Crete, now a Greek island. In the mid-1500s BC, Egyptian rulers in the south declared war on the Hyksos kings. The Egyptians regained power and drove the Hyksos into southwestern Asia. Summary. In 2040 BC, strong leaders reunited Egypt, beginning the Middle Kingdom. Dynasty 12 kings who ruled for much of the Middle Kingdom oversaw the expansion of land and trade, as well as the construction of many building projects. During the Middle Kingdom, artists and writers produced Egypt's finest jewelry and earliest literature. In time, Egypt fell to the Hyksos, ending the Middle Kingdom. Okay, turning to page 155, Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut is considered one of the greatest rulers in the history of Egypt. Many men ruled in ancient Egypt, but Hatshepsut was one of the very few women to gain the title of pharaoh. Born in about 1504 BC to King Thutmose I and Queen Ammos, I'm probably butchering these names, but I'm doing the best I can, Hatshepsut learned how to read and write hieroglyphs from a royal scribe. When Hatshepsut's husband, King Thutmose II, died unexpectedly in about 1479 BC, the next person in line to be pharaoh was Hatshepsut's stepson, Thutmose III. Thutmose III, however, was considered too young to serve as ruler, so Hatshepsut ruled for a while as the boy's regent, or acting ruler. Eventually, Hatshepsut took the title of pharaoh herself. Being pharaoh was a responsibility Hatshepsut took very seriously. In addition to expanding Egypt's borders, Hatshepsut sent expeditions to other countries. This brought much trade to Egypt. Hatshepsut also restored many old temples where statues were built in her likeness. Some of the pieces in these temples show Hatshepsut wearing the traditional royal robes of pharaohs. Some of the statues and sphinxes even show Hatshepsut with a beard, which was a standard feature of male pharaohs before her rule. Historians have suggested that she may have posed as a man during her reign. Hatshepsut ruled for a longer time than any other female pharaoh. During her years in power, she maintained peace and stability in Egypt. Her life following her rule remains a mystery. So she showed responsibility by stepping up and becoming a good and powerful leader when she was called upon. Okay, turning the page to page 156. Distinguish importance of information. So deciding what information is important and what information is not that important. Why it matters. You cannot always remember everything you read. However, there are ways to determine what you really need to know from your reading. Learning how to distinguish important information from less important information will help you organize your studying. What you need to know. One way to analyze the importance of information is to identify relevant from irrelevant information. Relevant information is directly related to the subject you are reading. Irrelevant information is unrelated to the subject. You also need to be able to tell essential information from incidental information. Essential information is needed to understand a subject fully. Incidental information does not affect your knowledge of a subject. Finally, you need to know the difference between verifiable and unverifiable information. Verifiable information can be proved, while unverifiable information cannot be proved. To determine the importance of information, ask yourself the questions shown in the flowchart below. If you can answer yes to any or all of these questions, then you know to remember the information. So the first question you ask yourself, does the information relate to what I need to know? Question 2, is the information truly important to the subject matter? And question 3, can I be sure that the information is true? Okay, practice the skill. Now I'm on page 157. The passage below describes an important time in the life of Sinwosret I, the son of Amenemhet I. Read the passage carefully, then determine which information is the most important for you to remember. Sinwosret was away from home on duty in the Egyptian army. He was a brave soldier, never showing fear or retreating. He was also very handsome. One day, while preparing for a long journey, he was summoned. A messenger had come to share with Sinwosret news from home. His father had been killed. Sinwosret was filled with grief and rushed home to claim the land that was rightfully his. So let's look real quick. I'm not going to read the questions over to the side, but let's look at the sentence where it says, he was also very handsome. Now, does the information relate to what I need to know? Well, if you're learning about Sinwosret, knowing that he is handsome or not seems pretty irrelevant to me. Is it important? It seems pretty incidental, not very important. And it's unverifiable. We can't prove, and it's an opinion, so it's even more difficult to prove that that was truly the case. So that's an example of a sentence that is irrelevant. It's an incidental, meaning it's not really needed, and it's not really verifiable either. You can't prove it. Okay. Now you can have unverifiable information in your text to add some detail, but it may be you want to make sure that it's at least relevant and or essential to what you're trying to learn. For example, he was a brave soldier, never showing fear or retreating. We can't really verify that necessarily. I mean, we could go back and maybe there's some history written about the wars that he was in, but it's I would say it's relevant to who he was as a person, and we're learning about Sinwosret in this passage. So I would say that's relevant information, who he was, what kind of person he was. So while it's unverifiable, I would say it is relevant. Okay. All right, thanks again for watching, and continue on in your social studies.